Hey everyone, so kind of a quick video to finish off my brake replacement on these F550s. We're going to do front brakes on it today. It's actually relatively easy, not like the Breer. You don't have to pull any axles or anything. It's just pretty quick. First thing we're going to need is a 21 millimeter socket for the lug nuts. So the hub adapter is held on with 21 millimeter nuts as well. You got to put the socket on. You need a short socket. You got to put the socket on the nut first, put an extension through the hole in the wheel adapter to remove it, and then kind of pull the extension off of the socket, and then you can get the nut out. So that's how they're set up in there. So you put the socket on, extension through, and you can take them off. So I got a couple screwdrivers inside the holes of the caliper there, and I'm just kind of prying on them to take some of the tension off the pads and kind of retract some of the piston a little bit. So I'm just kind of getting the edge of the pad, and I'm prying against the pad. Huh. Appears we're going to need a ball joint too. So I got to pull the caliper off. These caliper bolts are 16 millimeter heads, and these caliper bracket bolts are 24 millimeter. So you're going to want to make sure that the little guides in here, or the slide pins, whatever they are, that those are free, move side to side. I'll put a little grease or something on them. And yeah, so just let's see. Make sure they move. That's good. This one down here is good. See it sliding. So make sure they're not seized up. just use one of those cam lock straps. Hang them up by that. But yeah, that's a little better. Alright, so we're going to take this hub off. It's T27 Torx bit. That. Inside here you're going to have a snap ring, big snap ring, kind of like that guy, exactly like that guy, but not that guy. That guy. That's loose. Next we got to take the wheel bearing out. I might just tie it up because you're gonna have it plugs in back here, up underneath the floor of the cab. And it runs along the frame, and there's a couple of bolts here that don't look like they were ever really put in right. And I don't know if they're going to come out or what they're going to do because they look pretty rusty where they are. So I might just take this one out right here, take the 4 bolts off the back of the hub, slide it out, and then just hang the whole thing up and leave the rest of the stuff on, because I don't really need to take it off. Or maybe I'll take it off. I don't know, I'll try to get them out. I believe these are 8mm. So I take that bolt out there. There's one there, and there's a zip tie with a push pin there. You got a clip there, and then it hooks in right here, and that's got another push pin in there, the big one that goes with the connector. So I'm gonna try to get these 2 out, and if I can get them out, then I get the rest of it off. It's just these 2, for some reason, I don't know why, not my fault, those aren't in all the way. So we'll see if they come out. Oh yeah. All right, so that's off. So let me get you some light. Can't see. So we got 4 bolts, or nuts here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on that side. They're 21mm. So I'll pull those out. Of course, that's in the way. Move that for you. There. So. So I put a nut on there. There's kind of like a little dimple in these, and I'm gonna try to use air hammer to push it out. If that, I'm gonna come on there like that, and just kind of try to push that out. I put the nut on there in case it swells a little bit. It won't go beyond the size of the nut. But that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to get that out, and I'm gonna try to kind of hammer on the flange of the wheel bearing to try to loosen up these bolts here, and then the hole that's going to be inside the knuckle there. So we got to get the bearing off. All right, so I use a 1 1/4 or 1 1/8. Use 1 1/8. There we look. 1 1/8. So I use a 1 1/8 socket on this guy. I use the 21 on that guy, and I use the 1 5/16 on this lower one. I kind of just went in the hole there. I used my air hammer on here, this little point there, and popped that down. Took the nut off there. I left the nut on up here, so I'm gonna try to hammer that down, and hopefully it comes out and drops. Yeah. Voila. Man, that thing just fell out of there. Alright, so I took the snap ring off the lower ball joint. I'm gonna try to not just knock the lower one out with a hammer. You have to use the C-press tool and put like the threaded section through the top part to put the bottom one in. So you gotta knock them out in an order. I think you gotta do the lower one first, and then you do the upper one, or vice versa. I'll put a diagram up so you can see. Alright. So you gotta press the top one in first, the instructions say. Is that. So I think the lower one, so we need a bigger cup. Hopefully I'm putting them in the right direction. And there. See what you're looking at. Alright, so I took this adjuster out because the book says that you have to take it out and clean the bore, otherwise you can have handling issues. Don't know why, but that's what they say. So I don't know, maybe it won't slide right and won't match up to the new ball joint. I don't exactly know, but anyway, it's notched, so the marks I made really don't matter because it's, like I say, notched. Nice and smooth, nice and clean. Should have no problems. So we're going to put the knuckle in. Now what we're going to do is we are going to torque the lower ball joint to 44 foot-pounds. Then we're going to torque the upper ball joint to 69 foot-pounds. And we will torque the lower ball joint to 150 foot-pounds. Then we will torque the tie rod end, where it goes in the steering knuckle, to 85 foot-pounds. And those are your torque specs for this. I'm losing it. You're freak out. I hate when the new ball joints are so stiff. You can't move them. Good enough. These ones are a different size. These are both 1 and 5/16. Not doing any real torque, I'm just pulling it up. It's got a locking nut on it. It doesn't have a cotter pin, so I guess you got to hold it with an Allen key too. Is that 8mm? Just in case some of you people want the part numbers, I've been asked to supply them before. That is one. It is K50087. That is the top. The bottom is right there. If you can see it, K500141. That is the bottom. I'm lucky enough to not have the wrench in that size. Awesome. Oh, there we go. This is awesome. So 50, 44, this one goes down to 50. Well, you're getting 50. Well, that's weird. There's no way that I did that all. Huh. I guess it's at 50. What was the other one? 69, 50, 60, 9. Well, I'm going to go to 70. All right, so 150 on the bottom. 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 50. 150. Let's go. Why does that not feel like a lot? I don't know. Should go a little bit tighter to put the cotter pin in. So with this one to 85 foot-pounds. Cotter pin. Yeah. So what's next? The axle, I guess. So I gotta change the seal on here. I don't know if you can see, I can't see. So that's the seal number. 710685. Yes, you're supposed to put the seal on before you put the axle into the axle. I've done it both ways. Doesn't really make a difference to me. Just makes it a little bit easier to put it in by putting it on the seal first. But I had somebody tell me how I destroyed the seal and I must rip it out and start over because now it is ruined. Yeah, it worked perfectly and it's still in the truck and doesn't have a problem. But do whatever you wish. So, put that on, take your handy dandy seal installer, get that all ready to go. You really got to give it to her. And you can see right here. You can see right there, it's on all the way. Something like that. Alright. Put it in there. So this is going to go until the flange bottoms out against the steering knuckle. Yeah. Alright, so I tightened these 4 nuts up to 135 foot-pounds for the back of the wheel bearing. So, with that done, I put the ABS wire back up. So I'm gonna put this front hub in, tighten that down. I also put the snap ring in there too. Get the brake rotor all cleaned up. I just kind of used some brake clean and wiped it off. So that's the part number for that. See, come over here. Here's the part number I got for the brake pads. So clean this up. Put some Never Sees on this mating surface right here. It didn't really stick to the back. It just stuck to this edge here where it centers the caliper on the hub. So I'm gonna put the rotor on. So I collapse the pistons. I just use an old pad to kind of bridge the gap and set. So I made sure my pins are clear or free. So I slide back and forth, and they are. So like I say, let's put the rotor on. We'll stick the pads in. I cleaned up the pad holder or the caliper bracket, whatever you want to call it. You can use something like this. I don't have really a problem with these brackets actually rusting under there very much. I don't know if it's just because how much the vehicle gets used, or if it's just these don't really do that very well. I'm not really bad at it anyway. So anyway, you can use some brake parts lubricant under there to keep that from rusting and then rust jacking. I put some Never Sees on there because this stuff is just groovy. Because I've put this on and I don't notice it actually staying, because I'll come back in and it'll be totally gone. So I'm gonna try the Never Sees, and I've had the Never Sees. I notice like when I use it on the guide pins and stuff, it'll stay there longer than I've noticed that brake parts lubricant has. Because I've used that. So I've used that brake parts lubricant to lubricate the guide pins and stuff on my own vehicle, and I've had them seize up later on. So I don't know how well it actually works, and that was on like a newer install of a new caliper, a new bracket, and I've had issues with them on my Chevy. So I've been trying Never Sees just to kind of see how it goes, and like I say, I'll try to test it out and see if it's a better option than the ceramic lubricant. So I cleaned up inside this hub with a wire wheel, just so it goes on a little bit better and I don't have issues with it sticking. Make sure your face here is all, make sure that face there is free of rust and stuff, so it sits flat. I'll put the bracket on. Put some Loctite on the bolts. These bolts will get torqued to 295 foot-pounds. Going to come with some springs and new hardware. So there's 2 different brackets. One looks like that, and the other one looks like that. So you see they're a little bit different. They only go on one side because if you look the way the way they're bent, they're different sizes. So it'll only go on one end, because these guides, this one is longer than this one, so you just kind of have to see which one it fits on. And it's like the opposite on each side, so. But this one won't fit on that one. And then you have these guys. These go in here, kind of hook on there, and then they actually hold the shoes open so they don't drag. So I'll put the shoes on with the caliper on, and I'll take these and I'll bend these into little hooks that are inside the pad. So you can see you got a little hook in the pad. So basically you got to take those, kind of bend them down, so the little hook on the end goes into this little hole right there. I usually do the one right in the middle, that guy. This guide pin's got to actually be out really far to get that on. Kind of hooks in the top, goes down, and it's in there. So we'll put our bolts back in, and we'll put our hooks on, put the wheel back together, torque these wheel adapter bolts, and keep going. So these two bolts, caliper bolts, get torqued to 46 foot-pounds. That is on this F550. I don't know if it's the same on a 350 or something, or the 250. I don't think it is. Something's different on them, and I don't remember what, because I don't really work on one, because we don't have any here. It's actually going to be really kind of hard to show you this. So, I grab that kind of like that at a 45-degree angle, so I could twist it and control it like that. That way you could turn it. Oops. Which is kind of hard to do because it usually slips. And we'll kind of put it in there. You can put it so it hooks. Lift it up. Kind of put it in the little hole there. Takes a little bit of finesse, but it's not a big deal. Sometimes it won't go in the hole and you got to push it up. That's why I stuck the screwdriver in and kind of just pushed it up into place. And that works too. So I'm gonna get this bottom one on. So all these nuts here are going to get torqued to 135 foot-pounds. So I don't have a short 21 millimeter that this takes, so I'm using the 7/8. It's loose on there, but it's what I've been using, and I don't usually have a problem with it. So I'm going to take a screwdriver here, and I'm going to put it in the fins of the rotor down at the bottom, so you can rotate this or tighten these up, and you don't rotate the the hub. So basically, just gonna come down and insert there, insert driver here, and then when you put pressure on it, it just holds that there, and then it doesn't allow you to rotate it. So you generally want to go in a crisscross pattern to kind of get it set, and then I will go around it a second time just to make sure that none of them loosened up as I torqued it all. So like I say, I'll go in a crisscross pattern on them, and then I'll make one lap around so they're all tight, and that's how I do it. So I like to push the brakes down and then try to rotate the wheel after I do that to make sure the caliper doesn't seize up, because I've had calipers do that. When you compress the pistons, they'll get jammed into the seal, and then when you put them on, they're still kind of stuck in the seal, and they'll apply the brakes, but they won't actually release because it's like I say, it's jammed in the seal, or the guide pins are froze or something. So I'll always test them before I finish, just to make sure that the caliper does release and the wheel does rotate freely, and it does. So I'm not worried about it now. I'm gonna put the brake or the wheel on, and then we'll torque the lug nuts to 165 foot-pounds, and then we're done. So I'll use a pry bar. You can either put it on the ground or however you want to do it. I'll use a pry bar, and I'll go in this hole here so it goes right up against the bottom of the caliper bracket, and that'll keep it from rotating. If you have nice aluminum wheels or something dressy, then I could see that being a problem, but in this scenario, these wheels aren't anything special, so I'm not really doing any harm. So that's that. That's how I do it. Sure, there's other ways of doing it, but kind of seems to be what works for me. So anyway, hope that can help somebody. Thanks for watching.